Welcome. Settle your shoulders, soften your jaw, and take one quiet breath you don't owe to anyone else. This is your space to grow your career without draining your well. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks, and today we're building boundaries that create trust, respect, and real momentum. You want to progress without overgiving. You want to be recognized for your impact, not your exhaustion. You want to feel proud when you close your laptop, not guilty or behind. You can get there with simple, steady practices. The core of this work is a gentle refrain you will hear again and again. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Start with a reset. Picture the week ahead like a clean desk. On that desk, place only what you intend to finish. Not everything you could do. Not everything you're secretly worried about. Just what you intend to finish. Say quietly, I choose depth over drama. I choose impact over noise. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. A small practice for today. Define your one promise. Not 10. 1. Choose the single result that would make this week meaningful for your growth. Say it like a headline you'd share with a mentor. I will deliver the client onboarding guide that reduces our support tickets by half. Or, I will fix the analytics funnel and present the findings with next steps. Your one promise is not the only thing you will do, but it leads. It gives your calendar a spine. It is easier to say no to the wrong work when the right work has a name. Now let's talk about the moment where overgiving begins. It rarely starts with a big ask. It begins with the tiny shrug you give yourself when you accept a task that doesn't fit your role, your goals, or your bandwidth. Notice that shrug. That shrug is expensive. Replace it with a pause line. Here's a ready-to-say line you can keep. Thanks for thinking of me. Let me check where this fits with my current priorities and get back to you by this afternoon. That sentence buys you thinking time without burning relationship capital. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. When you do get back to them, use a simple boundary structure. Name the priority. Name the constraint. Offer a path. For example, my priority this week is the onboarding guide tied to our Q3 target. That means I can't take on the deck redesign. If it helps, I can review your final draft for 20 minutes on Thursday. Notice what this does. You're not apologizing for having a plan. You're offering a small, specific help that doesn't collapse your week. Boundaries that build trust make you reliable, not rigid. If you're worried about being labeled unhelpful, try a repair line that keeps warmth while holding the line. I want to support this, and I also want to keep my commitments strong. If the timeline shifts or you need a fast second look later, I'm happy to be your checkpoint. This keeps the door open without giving away the room. Let's add a micro practice for mornings. Before you open your inbox, write 3 sentences. What I own. What can wait? What needs a boundary? Keep the sentences short. What I own. The onboarding guide outline. What can wait? The social slides. What needs a boundary? The ad hoc reporting requests. Read them aloud. You just moved from reacting to leading. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Many women carry the invisible job of smoothing emotions at work. That is thoughtful labor, but it is not infinite. Here's a way to honor your care while protecting your energy. When a colleague is stressed and hands you their urgency, reflect and redirect. I hear this is urgent for you. My current priority is the onboarding guide. What's the smallest piece I can help with that keeps me on track? Reflection shows you care. Redirection keeps your work intact. Let's talk about your boss. A strong boundary with your manager is not a wall, it's a rail. It guides you both toward results. Ask for clarity in a calm, focused way. I can take on either the onboarding guide or the deck redesign this week. Which one moves the needle most for our goals? I'll commit to that and schedule the other for next week. You are not being difficult. You are preventing diluted output. If your boss says both, Use your calendar as a visual truth. I have 12 focused hours available after meetings. Guide will take 8. Deck will take 6. If we add both, I'll need to adjust scope or shift deadlines. Which do you prefer? Your calendar is your ally, not a private shame. A lunchtime practice to keep your energy steady. The 5-breath reset. Step away from the screen, place a hand on your chest, and count 5 slow breaths. On each exhale, release one role you are not responsible for right now. Fixer, explainer, buffer, perfecter, rescuer. You can be generous without being those roles. You can be excellent without being everyone's emergency plan. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Now, compensation and growth. Overgiving often disguises itself as loyalty, but unbounded loyalty can delay your advancement and blur your value. Start naming your wins in the language of outcomes. Not "I helped the team late." Say, "I shipped the onboarding guide, reducing support tickets by 50% within 2 weeks." Keep a living document of outcomes tied to metrics or observable change. When review time comes, you will not be searching your memory under stress. You will be presenting a story of impact calmly. When requests arrive with vague urgency, ask for the impact hook before you commit. What does this unlock for the team or the quarter? I want to make sure I place it correctly against current goals. If the sender cannot name the impact, it is a signal to right-size or defer. You are not refusing. You are aligning. Let's include ready-to-say lines for common scenarios. When a recurring meeting has no agenda, I want to use our time well. If there's no agenda today, I'll step out and rejoin when we have specific decisions to make. When a colleague drops work at the last minute, I'm at capacity on commitments I've already made. If you can extend the deadline or narrow the scope, I can reevaluate. When a leader praises you for being always available, thank you. I care about delivering reliably, which is why I protect focus hours. That's how we keep quality high. You are teaching people how to see you, not as a bottomless resource, but as a dependable professional. Sometimes overgiving comes from a good place. You know you can do it faster or better. But speed today can mean stagnation tomorrow, because people keep handing you the work they don't want to build mastery in. Share skills instead of absorbing tasks. I can record a quick walkthrough so the team can own this next time. Let me know who will be the point person. This preserves your time and grows capability around you, which is leadership, not stinginess. At home, the same pattern of overgiving can drain the energy you need for your career. You may be the default planner, rememberer, or fixer with family and friends. Try this script with someone you love. I want to keep showing up with energy and joy, not resentment. To do that, I need us to share the planning for dinners this week. Can you take 2 nights fully, from deciding to dishes? If they forget, use a gentle reminder that keeps dignity. I'm staying true to the plan we made so I don't burn out. What's your plan for tonight? Boundaries at home protect your career stamina. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. A simple evening practice to close your day. Write a done list before the to-do list. It tells your nervous system the truth. You move things forward. Then choose tomorrow's focus window. 2 hours is enough if it's defended. Put it on your calendar with the label you would use for a meeting with someone powerful, because you are that person. During that window, your only job is your one promise. If interruptions come, use the pause line and return later with a decision, not a reflex. Let's address guilt. Guilt often appears when you speak a boundary. Even when the boundary is healthy, name it and then ask a grounding question. If my best friend were here, would she say this is reasonable? If the answer is yes, let the guilt pass like weather. If the answer is no, refine the boundary until it feels both firm and fair. You can trust that inner committee of your wisest friends. They want you to win without disappearing. When you do overgive, because you will, repair quickly and softly. I said yes too fast and took on more than I can handle well. To honor the quality we want, I need to adjust. Here are two options. The person who has to hear that will likely respect your honesty. What they don't respect is a quiet crumble that lands as missed deadlines. Repair keeps trust intact. Let's put all of this into a small weekly ritual that fits on a single page. On Friday afternoon or Monday morning, review your outcomes, pick your one promise, mark 2 focus windows, and list 3 boundaries you anticipate needing. Write the ready-to-say lines under each. Keep the page visible. Each time you use a boundary line, put a tiny dot next to it. Watch how many dots appear. You are tracking courage, not perfection. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. If you're early in your career, you might fear that boundaries will slow your growth. The opposite is true. A person who knows their priorities, protects their focus, and communicates limits with warmth becomes someone others trust. Trust grows responsibility. Responsibility grows influence. Influence grows compensation. You don't need to overgive to accelerate. You need to align. A word for women navigating identity dynamics at work. You may have been taught, overtly or quietly, that ease for others is your primary value. That teaching kept you safe in some rooms. You can thank it and retire it. Your value at work is your ability to move important things forward in a way that people want to repeat. That includes bringing calm, clarity, and kindness. It does not include enabling broken systems by silently absorbing their cost. Say softly, I will not make my excellence invisible to keep the peace. I will build peace that includes my excellence. Let's turn to feedback, because boundaries and feedback are siblings. When you receive feedback, anchor to your values before you respond. My goal is to deliver results without burning out. Help me connect this feedback to that goal. If feedback asks you to overextend, name the trade-off. I can implement this by Friday if we remove the data deep dive from this week. Which outcome matters more? You're not resisting. You're designing with reality. When you give feedback, be the colleague who makes it safe and specific. I appreciate your initiative on the deck. For us to hit the goal faster, let's define the 3 decision points before you start. I'm happy to review at those points for 15 minutes each. This is a boundary disguised as support. You are shaping the work so it stops sprawling. If you manage people, model humane limits. Send one-line summaries instead of midnight emails that ask for immediate action. Say, I'm writing this while it's on my mind. No action until tomorrow. Celebrate when your team protects their focus. The message is clear. Productivity is not performative exhaustion. The reward is not popularity. The reward is progress. Prepare for pushback not as a battle, but as part of the rhythm of growth. When someone says, you're less available lately, reply calmly, I'm protecting focus to deliver at a higher level. If you need something time-sensitive, flag it, and I'll make a considered call. When someone says you used to take this on, reply, I did, and I'm adjusting so I can own the outcomes that move our goals. If you're concerned about coverage, let's align on responsibilities across the team. The tone matters. You are steady, not defensive. You are leading, not asking permission to exist. Close your eyes a moment and picture your future self a year from now. She has a portfolio of visible outcomes. She has a rhythm that keeps her rested and ready. She is known for calm clarity. She does not scramble, she chooses. She loves her work again. What did she do to get there? She practiced small sentences that protected big dreams. She repeated the refrain until it became natural. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Tonight, choose one boundary line you will use tomorrow. Write it on a small card or a sticky note. Read it out loud 3 times until it feels like your voice. Place it where you will see it before your first meeting. When you use it, breathe afterward and notice what stayed intact. Your time. Your promise. Your self-respect. That feeling is the foundation of sustainable growth. We will build from here. In the next part, we'll define a clear, kind, consistent calendar system that honors your one promise while communicating your availability without apology. We will craft scripts for negotiating scope and timelines. And we will practice gentle ways to say no that keep doors open. You are not behind. You are beginning, and beginnings are powerful. Part 2 begins with your calendar, because your calendar is the living proof of your priorities. Today we shape a simple, humane system that protects your one promise, makes your availability obvious, and reduces the need to explain yourself. The North Star does not change. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Start with 2 daily focus windows. These are the guarded hours where your one promise lives. Make them visible with a specific title that names the outcome, not a vague block. Write onboarding guide, draft 2 sections, or analytics funnel, fix step 3. Add who it serves in parentheses, if that helps you honor it. Put these windows at times when your mind is naturally strong. For many people it is mid-morning and early afternoon. If your days are meeting heavy, take one early and one late. Your week just gained a spine. Add 2 short buffers before and after each focus window. 10 or 15 minutes is enough. The first buffer is for setup. The second is for closing notes and next steps. When a request arrives that would collide with your focus window, you can say, I have a focus block from 10 to noon for the onboarding guide. I can reply after 12:15. If it's urgent, please send the smallest question you need decided. You are not hiding. You are leading. Now set one block called office hours. 90 minutes, twice a week, when you are happily available for quick reviews, questions, and unblocking. Place it where your team tends to need you. Post it on your status, or your shared channel on the morning of. The line is simple. I'm reachable during office hours from 2 to 3:30 today. Drop what you need with context and I'll help then. Office hours prevent all-day drifting. They create a safe container for responsiveness without erasing your priorities. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Declutter your recurring meetings. Keep only the ones that make decisions or move real work forward. When a recurring slot shows up without a purpose, reply calmly, what decision or deliverable do we want from this time? If none, let's cancel today and reconvene when we have one. If a meeting is kept, ask for the agenda 24 hours earlier. If it does not arrive, you can say, I'm stepping out to protect focus. Add me back when we have the decisions listed. You are not being difficult. You are practicing stewardship of time. Protect a daily reset. 7 minutes after lunch is enough. Review your one promise, scan your calendar, and choose your boundary line for the afternoon. The line could be, I'll review once at 3, or I can give this 15 minutes today and 45 tomorrow. Write it down. Reading it once grounds you. Using it once changes your day. Let's talk about email and messages. Decide your response rhythm and announce it in small, steady ways. A signature line can read, I check messages at 10:01 and 4 to protect focus work. For time-sensitive items, title the message urgent with a one-sentence summary. You do not need an auto-reply for everything you do. You do need a consistent pattern that others can trust. When someone pings repeatedly within an hour, respond with warmth and a boundary. Thanks for the nudge. I'm in a focus window. I'll review at 1 and get back to you then. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Use color to see your week at a glance. Choose one shade for promise work, another for collaboration, a third for admin. You don't need art. You need clarity. Aim for at least 40% promise color. If it drops below that, you are in a reactive week. A reactive week is not a moral failure. It is a signal to right size. When you notice the color shift, send a small alignment note to your manager or key partner. This week tilted reactive with urgent reviews. I'm protecting 2 focus windows for the guide to keep momentum. Expect a draft Thursday. This line keeps trust. Now let's practice scope and timeline negotiation, the heart of growing without overgiving. When a request lands, ask 3 quiet questions before you reply. What outcome matters most here? What would good enough look like? What is the true deadline? These questions shrink the task to its real size. They also prepare your language. Try this. I can deliver a clean version by Friday that covers the top 3 sections. If full depth is required, I can have that next Wednesday. Which path serves the goal? You offered options without drama. If the answer comes back as both, anchor to trade-offs. To meet Friday, I will omit the case studies and will add them next sprint. If the case studies are essential, Friday becomes next Wednesday. Which do you prefer? No epalegi. No overload. Clear choices. Delegation is a form of boundary that builds trust. When you pass work thoughtfully, you help the team grow and you keep your energy for the work only you can do. Use clear handoffs. I'm assigning the deck draft to you, with the 3 decisions we need to make bold at the top. I'll review for 15 minutes at noon tomorrow. Aim for good enough to decide, not perfect. This teaches pace, not just polish. It also prevents the quiet trap of stepping back into rescue, which steals learning from others and time from you. Sometimes you are the one asked to rescue. The language to protect your growth is simple. I can consult for 20 minutes to help you shape it. After that, I need to return to the onboarding guide. Send me your draft by 11 and I'll annotate the first page so you can run. You are kind. You are clear. You are consistent. Let's create a weekly alignment ritual. Schedule 15 minutes with your manager early in the week. Focus on outcomes and trade-offs. I'm committed to shipping the guide draft Thursday. I can also take on the deck redesign or the partner review, not both. Which one unlocks more for the quarter? If they pick both, return to capacity. Here's my available focus time, 12 hours. Guide needs 8. That leaves 4. Where do you want those 4 hours? If your manager resists the numbers, hold steady. Reality is a kindness. Shared reality is leadership. Clients and cross-functional partners often live in different rhythms. When a client asks for last-minute changes, steady the frame. I want this to succeed. To deliver by Friday without sacrificing clarity, I propose we address the header, the summary, and the pricing table. The rest will go into version 2 Monday. If Friday must include all sections, the timeline shifts to Wednesday. I'll hold 2 review windows so you feel supported. This language is calm and commercial. It builds trust because it shows you steward both quality and time. Now the gentle ways to say no that keep doors open. Start with a why. Connect your no to a yes that matters. I'm keeping my promise to deliver the guide this week, so I can't join the brainstorm today. If the team needs input, I can share 2 notes by end of day. Another option. That request is outside my role right now. The best owner is someone closer to the channel. I can help with a checklist they can follow. You are not dumping. You are directing. With peers, keep dignity intact. I'm at capacity, and I'm protecting 2 focus windows this afternoon. If you can narrow the question to 1 decision, I can respond at 4. If you need a partner to think live with you, schedule one of my office hours this week. With friends who love to chat in the middle of your workday, use softness and structure. I'm deep in a focus block right now, so I won't pick up. I'll call you at 6 with my whole attention. Giving a specific later time keeps warmth without sacrificing your plan. Family needs can feel like a test of your resolve. When a loved one expects you to be endlessly reachable, respond with care and a boundary. I want to be present with you. During the day I have 2 windows when I can talk, 12:15 and 5:30. If it can't wait, text the word urgent and 1 sentence. Otherwise I'll call at 5:30. You are teaching people how to love you sustainably. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Let's refine your meeting scripts. When you receive an invite that overlaps your focus window, reply with respect. I'm heads down on the guide during this time. If my presence is essential, I can move the block once this week. If not, I'll review notes after and send any decisions you need from me. If you truly must attend, replace the entire lost focus window elsewhere that same day. Do not tell yourself you will find the time. Put the time where you can see it. For long, unstructured meetings, insert shape. Could we agree on the 2 decisions we want by the half-hour mark? I will step out at 35 minutes to keep my other commitment, and I'm happy to review the final draft later today. Sometimes the simple act of naming a finish line transforms the room. Now a practice for the start and end of each focus window. At the start, write a small 3-line plan on paper. 1. What I will finish. 2. What good enough looks like. 3. How I will protect the window. At the end, write a 2-sentence update you could send if someone asked. I completed section 2 with examples. Next step is polishing section 3 tomorrow at 10. These micronotes make it easy to re-enter the work and easy to communicate status without anxiety. Let's build your boundary library for timelines. When someone says, "Can you get this by end of day?" answer with respect and reality. I can deliver a solid first pass by noon tomorrow. If same day is essential, I'll need to drop the competitor analysis today. Which do you prefer? When a leader says, "We need everything by Friday," steady your voice. I can deliver the top priorities by Friday. The summary, the plan, and the draft. The detailed appendix lands Tuesday. If Friday must include the appendix, the draft moves to Wednesday. You are not arguing. You are designing. If a teammate responds with frustration, stay with your anchor. I hear this is stressful. I'm keeping commitments so we all get reliable results. Let's pick the vital pieces for Friday and protect the rest next week. Your calm tone is a service. It shows people a path out of panic. What about when you say yes and later realize it will harm your core promise? Repair quickly. I overcommitted and I want to keep quality high. Here are 2 options that keep us on track. I can deliver a trimmed version by Friday, or I can keep the full scope and shift to Wednesday. Which serves best? The earlier you speak, the smaller the ripple. Use your calendar to communicate holidays, care days, and deep work weeks. You do not owe an explanation for rest. You owe notice when others depend on you. A line is enough. Heads up. Next Thursday is a deep work day for the guide. I'll be offline except for office hours at 3. If anything is time sensitive, flag it by Wednesday noon. This feels generous because it is. You are making it easy to work with you. If you lead people, model the system. Announce your focus windows, keep office hours, and praise others for guarding theirs. When you send a late-night note because inspiration strikes, add for tomorrow, no action now. When someone misses a boundary, correct with kindness. I want you to protect your focus. Let's move these questions into office hours. This is not just productivity. This is culture. A short evening routine keeps the next day honest. Look at tomorrow and mark the 2 focus windows with the strongest energy you have. Confirm your buffers. Write 1 line to yourself about why your promise matters. It could be, "This guide will cut noise and free the team." Meaning fuels discipline. Meaning makes no feel less like rejection and more like stewardship. Now for advanced practice. Some weeks you will need a quiet day. Choose one day with no meetings and only promise work. Tell the people who need to know, then honor it like a contract. If a true emergency arises, you can flex. Most things are not true emergencies. When you finish a quiet day, the sense of progress will reset your nervous system. It reminds you that you are capable, not just busy. When you feel the old pattern pulling you to say yes without thinking, keep a phrase on your tongue. Let me check what I would move to take this on well. I'll reply by 2. This is oxygen. It slows your reflex so your values can catch up. Healthy systems are built on thoughtful pauses, not heroics. As you practice, your calendar will become a quiet message your colleagues can read. Says, I deliver on what I promise. Says, I care about your needs and my capacity. Says, I am not trying to be everything, I am trying to be effective. People will trust you more, not less. They will bring you the work that deserves care, not the work that can be easily scattered. That is how careers grow with dignity. You are learning a new rhythm. Some days it will feel smooth. Some days it will feel tight. No system removes all friction. A good system keeps you honest and kind. It lets you make fewer decisions with more intention. It gives you a script when your energy dips. Protects the deep parts of you that do the real work. Part 3 is about voice. Not just the sound that leaves your mouth, but the presence you bring to your work. Voice is how you grow without overgiving, because voice creates clarity before the scramble begins. When your voice is steady, people learn how to work with you. They bring you the right problems at the right time. They leave your meetings knowing what matters. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Begin with a daily speaking warm-up you can do in 60 seconds. Sit tall. Relax your throat. Say 3 lines out loud in a calm, even tone. My priority today is the onboarding guide draft. My boundaries today are 2 focus windows and office hours at 3. My promise to others is timely, respectful replies inside those windows. Then add your anchor refrain softly. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. This is not performance. It is a reset for your nervous system. You are reminding your body that you are allowed to be calm when you communicate. Visibility is not bragging. It is hygiene. A quick practice makes it natural. Send a 2-sentence update to your manager and 1 key partner twice a week. Here's the format. What moved? 1 concrete outcome with a verb. What's next? 1 concrete step with a time. For example, finish draft sections 2 and 3 with examples. Next step is stakeholder review at 10 tomorrow. These small notes protect you from the invisible work trap. They also reduce drive-by check-ins because you already answered the question people were about to ask. When you enter a meeting, set a simple frame in the first 30 seconds. Today we decide on scope for the guide, confirm owner, and set a realistic Friday checkpoint. If the conversation drifts, return to the frame without heat. We're off track. To finish on time, we need the scope, the owner, and the checkpoint. I'm here to leave with those 3. The calm repetition is a gift. It moves the room forward without you carrying the whole room. Interruptions can make you overgive by accident. Practice 2 interruption scripts. In the moment, use a friendly hand gesture and say, hold that thought. I want to capture the point. Then write 1 line, repeat it back, and continue. If someone speaks over you, keep your voice even. I'll finish this point, then I'm keen to hear yours. Here's the rest of my sentence. You're not fighting, you're finishing. If you forget and let the interruption stand, repair with grace. I realized I didn't close my point. Here's the 1 sentence I'd like the group to take. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Now for hard asks that arrive with charm. You'll hear phrases like, you're so good at this, could you just? Compliment-flavored asks are still asks. Try thank you. I want to keep my promise on the guide, which means I can't own this. If you need 10 minutes of eyes, I have that at 4. If they push, keep the record calm. I am saying no to ownership and yes to a brief review. Which would you like? A clean record stops the slow slide from helpful to overloaded. Advocacy is not a speech. It is a rhythm. Build a wins journal that feeds your voice. Write brief entries tied to outcomes and dates. Reduce support tickets by 40% within 2 weeks of the guide draft. Presented funnel fix that increased signups by 8% week over week. When opportunities arise, you will speak from facts, not from a hope that someone noticed. In one-on-one, say, here are 2 outcomes from this month and 1 I am targeting next. Where can I apply this kind of impact next quarter? You are connecting your wins to the needs of the business. That is how growth conversations begin without you overextending to prove yourself. Sponsorship differs from mentorship. Mentors advise, sponsors open doors. Invite sponsorship with clarity and respect. I'm preparing to lead cross-functional projects. If you see opportunities where a comm driver is needed for a high-stakes deliverable, I'd like to be considered. What would make you confident putting my name forward? Then listen and make a plan from what you hear. Do not pay for sponsorship with free labor that dilutes your core work. Instead, trade with outcomes. I'll take on the pilot for 3 weeks and present results. If it lands, I'd like your support naming me as owner for version 2. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. When someone questions your boundaries as personality rather than process, bring it back to outcomes. I protect focus windows because it shortens time to quality by 40%. If we need me in more ad hoc reviews, we can expect the guide to ship on Monday instead of Friday. Which outcome helps more? It is difficult to argue with a choice between two realities. You are not being defensive. You are sharing the cost model. For remote or hybrid work, your voice must carry even when you are not in the room. Keep your camera posture calm and your tone unhurried. Name the decision you are asking for, the options, and your recommendation. Decision. Headline the decision in one sentence. Options. 2 options with trade-offs. Recommendation. Your clear call. Keep your face open when others speak. If a decision stalls, offer a path. I'll write a 1-page brief with the 2 options and a recommendation by noon. We can decide at 2. This keeps momentum without you volunteering to do everything. Cross-cultural teams add richness and also different rhythms. When a colleague from a direct culture background gives blunt feedback, receive the message and mirror the goal. Thank you, direct is helpful. I want to achieve the same outcome. Here's my plan. When a colleague from an indirect culture background hints rather than asks, gently surface the need. I'm hearing there may be concern about the timeline. Are you asking for a shift to Monday? If so, let's name it and shape scope. You are not policing tone. You are translating for progress. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Protecting creative energy requires graceful exit lines. When a meeting extends past the value point, say, I'm at time. Before I leave, here's what I heard and the next step I will take. If more is needed from me, please send one request with context. Then go. Your follow-through later proves your boundary is not abandonment. It is stewardship. Now the art of escalation without drama. Escalation is not tattling. It is clearing a block that is bigger than you. Speak to the person first when possible. I'm stuck because approvals are slipping. I need you to confirm by end of day to keep Friday's launch. If you cannot, I will escalate so we can unblock this. If nothing changes, escalate with a neutral subject line and a short note, naming the shared goal, the block, and the decision needed. To hit Friday's launch, we need approval on sections 2 and 4. Without it, we move to Monday. Please confirm the owner who can decide by 4. People respect you for choosing clarity over collision. Negotiating scope with executives requires less history and more verbs. When asked for an all-encompassing plan by tomorrow, answer with a timebox slice. I can deliver a 1-page plan with the 3 levers and a draft timeline by noon tomorrow. Full plan with budget and risks is Tuesday. Which do you want first? If the reply is still tomorrow for all, accept the constraint and redraw quality. Tomorrow full plan means high level without vendor quotes. Detailed plan lands Tuesday. Choose what is most useful. You just turned an impossible ask into a clear agreement. Let's build scripts for common communication traps. When someone says, "Can I pick your brain?" reply with kindness and structure. Happy to help inside 15 minutes. Send one question and what you've tried so I can be useful. If they send a flood, repeat your line. 15 minutes, one question, what you've tried. This keeps you generous without becoming an unpaid second job. When a leader praises you for staying late, redirect the value. I'm glad the deliverable landed. I'm tightening the process so we win during business hours. That keeps quality repeatable. Praise can shape culture. Let it point toward sustainability. With friends who call during your workday and want long debriefs, hold warmth and a container. I love you. I'm in work focus for the next 2 hours. Can I call at 6 so I can be present? If they are in crisis, acknowledge and place yourself. I hear you're hurting. I can talk for 5 minutes now or for 30 at 6. Which helps more? You are not cold. You are clear. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Family deserves your steady presence, which means you keep your work from bleeding into every room. Use a handover line when you close the laptop. I am done working. For the next 2 hours, I am here. Put your phone in another room if you can. If you must check once, say it aloud. I need 5 minutes to send one note, then I'm back. Name it, do it, return. Your voice creates trust at home. The trust that you truly come back. Disagreement is not danger. It is part of doing work that matters. When you disagree, begin with a value you share. We both care about speed and clarity. My concern with the current plan is rework risk. I propose we decide on scope now, build a thin slice, and test it with 3 users by Thursday. If they still disagree, end with a respectful record. I'm comfortable executing your choice. Here's the risk I see, and the mitigation I'll prepare. You kept ownership without needing to win the moment. Public speaking moments often accelerate careers, and they also open the door to over-preparing. Define good enough preparation. 1 clear story, 3 points, 1 ask. Practice out loud 3 times, not 30. Your line before questions is steady. I'll answer what I can now. If a deep dive is needed, I'll follow up with a note by tomorrow. This prevents you from spinning on every tangent in real time. It also models calm boundaries under lights. When you collaborate with someone who habitually hands you their chaos, use an intake gate. To take this on, I need 3 things in one message: the goal, the latest draft, and the deadline. Without those, I can't commit. If they resist, offer a reason. This keeps it efficient for both of us and prevents rework. If they still resist, decide if the work belongs to you. If it does, collect the pieces yourself once and send a template they can use next time. If it doesn't, redirect ownership to the right place with respect. I'm not the owner here. Loop in the owner, and I'll support with a 15-minute review at 3. Performance review season can tempt you to overgive to impress. Replace that instinct with a structured narrative. Start with your 3 biggest outcomes, each tied to a metric or observable change. Add 2 growth edges you address with specifics. Close with 1 clear ask aligned to business goals. I'm aiming to lead cross-functional launches next quarter. To prepare, I'm proposing ownership of the partner rollout and measurable targets. What would you need to see to support that move? You are running your career, not auditioning for permission. If you manage up to a leader who is always in a rush, make your voice concise. Lead with the decision they need to make, the 2 options, and your recommendation in under 20 seconds. If they decide, confirm in 1 sentence and leave. If they defer, schedule a short decision slot and send a 1-page with the options. Do not fill the vacuum with free labor to earn attention. Fill it with clarity they can act on. Now a practice to keep your voice from tiring. Set a daily word budget for synchronous communication. For example, 3 live conversations of 10 minutes each outside meetings. When you hit the budget, move the rest to written updates or office hours. Your energy is a resource. When you respect it, your words stay clean. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. When conflict flares, breathe and choose 1 sentence that preserves dignity while naming reality. I want us both to succeed, and right now I'm at capacity. I can contribute a 20-minute review today, or full ownership next Wednesday. Which helps? If someone escalates tone, lower yours. When voices go up, information goes down. Say, I'm going to take 2 minutes to write what I'm hearing, so we can decide cleanly. Then write. Your pen is a boundary. It slows the room so sense can return. Protect your future self with closing loops. Before ending the day, record one sentence you can send tomorrow morning if asked for status. Example, completed draft review and incorporated Section 2 feedback, resuming Section 3 at 10. This is not busy work. It keeps your voice dependable. It keeps you from paying the tax of morning confusion. If you feel you are losing ground with a colleague who takes your steady no as a challenge, stay consistent and widen the circle. I'm noticing repeated requests for work outside my commitments. To protect delivery, I'm looping in our manager to align on ownership. Then present the facts calmly with options. The pattern will resolve because the system will see it. You do not have to win every private debate to win the week. Finally, speak to yourself the way you want to speak to the room. Please stop carrying the load alone. Please ask for decisions. Please write outcomes, not apologies. You show others how to treat your time by how you narrate your own day. Choose sentences that respect your focus and your values. Choose sentences that make space for your best work to arrive. You are building a reputation that travels further than any calendar invite. People will say, she tells you the truth early. She keeps her promises. She is generous without becoming a sponge. She is calm when rooms get loud. That is trust. That is growth. Keep repeating the rhythm that got you here. Part 4 turns toward leverage, money clarity, and the choices that move you forward without draining you. Growth requires 2 things at once: discipline, boundaries, and strategic bets. The bets you place should compound. The places you say no should protect that compounding. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Begin with a simple filter for every new opportunity. Ask yourself 3 quiet questions before you reply. Will this build a reusable asset? Will this make my impact visible to the people who decide? Will this teach me a skill I want priced into my next role? If the answer is no to all 3, it is probably generosity dressed as growth. Generosity is beautiful. It is not always strategic. Practice saying, I'm aligning my time to projects that create repeatable value. I'm going to pass on ownership for this one. If input helps, I can offer a 15-minute review tomorrow at 3. You remain warm while you direct your effort toward compounding work. Money clarity is not greed. It is stewardship. Tie your value to outcomes and rhythm. Keep a quiet document that lists 5 to 10 outcomes with dates and numbers where possible. Then add a note on what made those outcomes repeatable, such as the playbook you wrote or the workflow you improved. When compensation conversations arrive, your language is simple and grounded. Over the last quarter, I reduced support tickets by half with the onboarding guide and created a template that any manager can reuse. I'd like to discuss aligning my compensation and scope with this level of impact. The clarity calms the room. It also prevents the reflex to overgive to prove worth you already demonstrated. Promotions run on perception and proof. You bring both by shaping your portfolio of work. Choose one project each quarter that places you in proximity to decision makers, and one that creates an asset others rely on. Name them to your manager. This quarter, my portfolio bet is the partner rollout and the cross-team brief series. I'll report outcomes and lessons learned weekly. When you label your bets, you protect them. When a flood of side requests arrives, you can say, I'm guarding the partner rollout and brief series because they drive our goals. I can review a draft for 10 minutes on Friday, or help you find an owner. Stretch assignments can be a trap if they expand without support. When you accept a stretch, set the frame early. I'm excited to take this on. For success, I'll need a decision maker, a clear metric, and a weekly checkpoint. I can commit 10 focused hours a week. If the scope grows, we'll adjust the timeline or add resources. Please confirm the sponsor. You are not being demanding. You are ensuring that a stretch grows you instead of consuming you. Now a micro practice for pricing your time. At the start of each week, assign a value to one focused hour of your work. Choose a number that reflects your salary and the outcomes you deliver. Then ask of each ad hoc request, is this worth one focused hour at that value? Sometimes the answer is genuinely yes, because the goodwill or learning is real. Other times, the math clarifies your no. Say, I want to be thoughtful with the trade-offs here. This week's focused hours are committed to the rollout. If we can shift this to next Tuesday or narrow the scope to one decision, I can help. If you feel the nice tax is being charged, extra emotional labor, extra cleanup, extra yes expected because you're capable and kind, bring the pattern to process. I'm noticing that I'm often the person smoothing last-minute changes. I want us to win without emergency sprints. Could we build a sign-off gate 24 hours before launch, with a named owner? I'm happy to help draft the gate, but I can't be the default buffer. This moves the conversation away from personality and into systems. The system either shifts, or the cost becomes visible to leaders who can shift it. Bias shows up in subtle asks. You might be asked to take notes instead of lead, to organize instead of decide. Hold your center and reframe. I want to contribute at the highest level. I'm glad to capture notes for 5 minutes to get us moving, and then I'd like Alex to take that role so I can drive the decision on scope. If the pattern continues, speak to your manager with calm specifics. I'm consistently routed to coordination tasks in meetings where my expertise is strategy. I'm asking to be named as decision owner on the next 2 launches. Here are the outcomes I'll deliver. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Let's craft your raise and promotion conversations with kindness and firmness. Start early, not at the review deadline. I want to align on the path to the next level. Based on the outcomes I'm delivering and the scope I'm taking on, I'd like to discuss timing and criteria for a promotion. Here are the 3 outcomes I'm targeting this quarter, and how they map to our ladder. What would you need to see to support this move? If your manager deflects, request a checkpoint. Let's set a 30-minute meeting 2 months from now to review progress against these outcomes. I'll send updates bi-weekly. You are creating a track others can follow with you on it. When negotiating compensation, keep it simple and anchored. Market data indicates the range for this role is X to Y. Given the outcomes I've delivered and the scope I own, I'm asking for Z. If Z is not possible this cycle, I'd like to agree on a timeline and a written plan tied to measurable outcomes. If the answer is still vague, hold your line. I appreciate the constraints. Without clarity on timing and criteria, I'll explore opportunities that match my current impact. I'm grateful for our work together. The room will become very clear about whether it can meet you. Let clarity do its work. High leverage networking stays clean when you give without becoming a sponge. Offer specific value in small bounded ways. I read your piece on onboarding. I can share the one-pager that cut our tickets in half. If helpful, I can do a 10-minute Q&A next week. This keeps you generous and scarce in the right way. If someone repeatedly asks for free consulting, bring the frame. I can offer one more 15-minute call. For longer support, here are 2 options. A paid session or a trade where you review our partner pipeline. Which works? Now home. Career growth without overgiving needs a home system that doesn't bleed your focus. If you share a household, schedule a Sunday logistics huddle. 15 minutes, 3 questions. What matters this week? What will we each own fully? What will we drop to protect sanity? Speak in clear lines. I'll own dinners Monday and Wednesday end to end. You'll own Tuesday and Thursday end to end. Friday is leftovers or takeout. If someone forgets, repair without martyrdom. I'm staying with what we agreed so I don't burn out. What's your plan tonight? Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. With children, anchor boundaries in predictability and affection. When you close your laptop, narrate it. I'm done working. Now I'm yours for an hour. When you must work during family time, narrate that too with a concrete return. I need 20 minutes to send a note, then I'm back for stories. If guilt rises, remember, guilt is a signal to check alignment, not a sentence to overgive. Check your plan, adjust if needed, and keep your promise to return. Friendships deserve honesty about your capacity. When a friend asks you to plan an event because you're good at it, you can say, I love you and I want to enjoy this with you. I don't have the bandwidth to lead the planning. I can choose the cake or send a playlist. Which would help more? When a friend vents during your workday, offer a container. I can talk for 10 minutes now or after 6 with my full attention. Which supports you best? Let's design a quarterly reset that keeps you from slipping back into overgiving by habit. Book 90 minutes with yourself at the start of each quarter. Review your outcomes, the systems you use, and the places you still leak time. Name one drain you will close and one bet you will place. Closing a drain could be ending a recurring meeting, handing off a task, or creating a template. Placing a bet could be taking ownership of a cross-team project or building a reusable asset. Write 3 sentences you will say to support each choice. When the quarter gets loud, those 3 sentences will save you from negotiating with your past self's wisdom. Write scripts for vendors and partners as well, because external relationships often test boundaries. When a vendor asks for yet another quick call, reply, please send one list with the 3 decisions you need from me. I'll reply by tomorrow. If live is essential, I have 15 minutes Wednesday at 11. When a partner delays their part and pushes pressure onto you, hold the timeline calmly. We'll keep Friday's launch by narrowing our part to the summary and plan. The detailed appendix depends on your updated numbers. If those arrive Thursday noon, we can include them. Otherwise, appendix ships Monday. Energy management sits under every boundary you make. Create a morning cue, a midday breath, and an evening release that are steady and small. Morning cue can be your desk clear and a line spoken aloud. Today I move one thing that matters. Midday breath can be 5 exhale counts longer than inhales. Evening release can be a sentence to your future self written on a sticky note. Resume section 3 at 10 with the example from client A. The small rituals make big boundaries easier. Your nervous system learns to trust the plan you speak. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. If your role involves caretaking at work, coaching juniors, hosting communities, smoothing tensions, guard your capacity with structure. Offer office hours instead of ad hoc counseling. Provide a resource list in a central place. When someone reaches out outside your hours, respond with warmth and a gate. I'm glad you reached out. I'm available for this kind of support during office hours. Add your question there, and I'll prioritize it then. Care is sustainable when it is paced. When a leader praises you for stepping in to rescue a project, receive the gratitude and redirect the lesson. Thank you. I'm tightening the setup so next time we don't need a rescue. I'll propose a checklist and sign off gate by Friday. This shifts attention from heroics to design. It also keeps you from being nominated as permanent firefighter. There will be weeks when your boundaries wobble. You will say yes too quickly. You will rescue because it's faster. Repair without self-scolding. I move too quickly and overcommit. To preserve quality, I need to adjust scope or deadline. Option A is the summary by Friday. Option B is the full deck by Tuesday. I'll prevent this next time by using a short intake checklist before I accept ownership. The point is not perfection. The point is repair and a tweak to the system that made the wobble. Mentoring others to set boundaries makes your own sturdier. When a junior teammate says yes to everything, don't just warn them. Give them lines. Try I can deliver a first pass by noon tomorrow with the top 3 points. Full depth is essential, it lands Monday. Which helps more? Offer to model a no in a meeting so they hear how calm it can sound. Leadership is teaching the room a rhythm that preserves human beings while raising the bar on outcomes. If you're navigating a return to work after a leave or a health pause, anchor to a clearly scoped ramp. My first 2 weeks will focus on the pipeline and the onboarding guide. I will be available for 1 live review per day. If more is needed, please group requests for office hours. I'll send weekly progress notes. When someone tries to accelerate you beyond the plan, return to agreed scope with warmth. I'm eager to be fully back. To keep quality and energy, I'm staying with the ramp we set. If coverage is at risk, let's involve the manager to redistribute. Sometimes the growth you need requires a move. Before you jump, run a clarity check. Are you seeking respect you could ask for here? Are you seeking scope you could propose here? If the answers are yes and you have asked and proposed with steady follow-through and still meet fog, then moving is not quitting, it is honoring your trajectory. When interviewing, keep your boundaries visible. I work in focus windows and use office hours for responsiveness. I design with trade-offs and decide fast. I'm looking for a team that values outcomes over performative urgency. The right place will nod with relief. Close this part with a small script you can carry anywhere. When a request arrives, say to yourself, I decide with alignment, not adrenaline. Out loud say, thank you for the request. Let me check what I would move to take this on well, and I'll reply by 2. Then actually check. If it aligns with your bets, accept with a clear scope. If it doesn't, decline with a path. Part 5 is about relationships that power your growth. Allies, stakeholders, and the circles that help you move meaningful work without losing yourself. You don't need more charm or more hours. You need cleaner agreements and steadier follow-through. The rhythm does not change. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Begin with a daily stakeholder minute. Before your first meeting, write 3 names. The person who can unblock you, the person who depends on you, and the person who talks about you when you're not in the room. Send each one a tiny note or make a quick touch. Unblocker. 1 sentence naming the decision you need. Dependent. 1 sentence confirming what they'll receive and when. Amplifier. 1 sentence that quietly showcases movement. This small loop builds trust faster than a long status deck, because it respects each person's world, and it shows your word is reliable. Now shape your alliance map. Choose 2 peers in adjacent teams whose success is linked to yours. Tell them what you're optimizing for this quarter, and ask what they're optimizing for. Then say, let's make it easy to work together. I'll batch non-urgent questions into Tuesdays. I'll join one of your stand-ups this month to see where our work rubs. I'll trade you a template for the 2 numbers I need to make my plan accurate. You are turning vague goodwill into a practical contract. When friction appears, you have a shared frame to return to. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Negotiating with strong personalities requires soft eyes and firm lines. When someone pushes for scope without owning trade-offs, reply calmly, I want to deliver at a level we're proud of. To include that feature, the draft moves from Friday to Tuesday, or we drop the appendix for now. Which do you prefer? If they try to make the trade-off your problem, bring it back to the shared goal. We both want a clean launch. A clean launch needs either time or narrowing. I'm ready to proceed once you choose. You are not dramatic. You are steady. When you're leading a cross-functional effort, send a pre-brief before kickoff. 1 page, 3 anchors, the decision we will make in this phase, the constraints we are honoring, and the definition of done for the next checkpoint. Close with how you will communicate, how to escalate quickly, and your office hours. This pre-brief is not bureaucracy. It is guardrails that prevent last-minute panic and quiet overgiving. You are building a path the team can walk without pulling you at every turn. Add a ritual called the decision log. Every time the group decides something consequential, capture the choice, the options, the date, and what would trigger a revisit. Share it in one place. When a new person joins late and wants to reopen settled questions, refer to the log. We decided on a staged rollout on August 12th to manage risk. Revisit triggers were performance under 98% or a competitor launch. Neither has occurred. If something changed, we can reopen at Friday's checkpoint. The log saves you from relitigating while staying open to real change. Sometimes a stakeholder disappears and then returns with fresh urgency. Move the conversation out of blame and into design. I'm glad we're reconnecting. To hit Friday, here's what we can include and what we'll stage next week. If Friday must be full scope, we'll need an extra reviewer and 3 hours blocked for approvals tomorrow. Please confirm owner and times. You are not punishing the delay. You are showing them the cost of catching up so they can choose. Let's practice the art of the graceful pivot when leadership shifts direction. A pivot is not a failure. It is a decision in new weather. Say, I'm hearing the strategy shift toward enterprise accounts. To align, I'll pause the consumer onboarding guide at section 4 and redirect the template to enterprise language. I'll present the adjusted plan Thursday. If someone sighs about sunk work, hold steady. Work that taught us is not wasted. We are using it as a starter for where we're going. Then deliver the adjusted plan quickly and calmly. Your voice becomes a seatbelt. Use a heat map to manage conflicting stakeholder needs. Draw a simple mental picture of 3 colors. Red items are critical to the quarter. Yellow are important but movable. Green are good if time allows. Ask stakeholders to categorize their requests with you. When everything is red, it means nothing is honestly planned. Name the reality and suggest a split. For Friday, I can deliver the red list. Yellow moves to Tuesday. Green stays on deck. If red must include 2 more items, we'll move the analysis portion to Tuesday. Which do you want? This keeps you out of the martyr role and in the role of calm planner. Around high-stakes moments, hold a readiness huddle. 10 minutes. 3 sentences each partner fills in. What I will deliver. What I need today. What will break if we don't decide. Read them out loud and adjust the plan. This simple tool exposes hidden assumptions and prevents you from quietly absorbing risk. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. If you're in a meeting where direction toggles every 10 minutes, stabilize with a whiteboard sentence. The decision we're making right now is whether to ship Friday with a trimmed scope or ship Tuesday with all sections. I recommend ship Friday with trimmed scope to learn faster. Do we agree? If someone launches into a separate debate, park it visibly. Good point for version 2. Today we're deciding ship plan. This keeps adults on task without treating anyone like a child. With senior executives, shorten your runway and lengthen your horizon. Begin with 2 sentences. The outcome you own and the measurable status. Then present the choice in front of them with clean trade-offs. Close with the ask. Outcome. Reduce tickets by 50% with a new onboarding guide. Status. Draft at 60%, on track for Friday. Choice. Ship Friday with summary, plan and pricing table, or ship Tuesday with case studies. Ask. Approve Friday trim ship or extend to Tuesday full scope. Even in 5 minutes, this structure earns respect and avoids the trap of performing extra unpaid explanation. Let's address credit and visibility. Because hidden work is the soil where overgiving grows. When you collaborate, name co-ownership early and in public. I'll own the research and first draft. You'll own stakeholder input and final polish. We'll share the review. On delivery day, send a note that names both contributions. Delivered the guide draft today. Research and structure by me. Stakeholder calibration and polish by Sam. Next step is leadership review Thursday. People learn from what you model. They will credit you back. Prepare for the colleague who hijacks outcomes by stepping in at the end. Stay calm and claim the process without a fight. Thanks for jumping in at the finish. For the record, scope was defined last Tuesday, draft reviewed Wednesday, final approved by noon today. For next time, I'll set a review gate 72 hours earlier, so you can contribute without risking the launch. I'll invite you to that gate. You are not scolding. You are installing a better system. When you need to push back on a leader who routinely adds work last minute, make it about reliability, not personality. I want our launches to be boring in the best way. Late changes put quality and trust at risk. Let's agree that changes after the 24-hour gate go to version 2 unless they're tied to legal or safety. I'll create a tiny form so exceptions are visible. I'll also publish the gate time every Monday. Most leaders will accept a rule that keeps them credible. Strengthen your relationships with short debriefs. After each deliverable, send a one-paragraph note. What we aimed for, what shipped, what we learned, and what will change next time. Add one thank you that is concrete. Thank you, Maya, for clarifying scope at the half-hour mark. It kept us from rework. This is not flattery. It is maintenance. You are telling people that you see them, and you remember the moments that mattered. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Build your personal library of templates, so you do not overgive on routine work. Keep a starter for briefs, a starter for decision logs, a starter for 2-sentence updates, a starter for readiness huddles, a starter for handoffs. Each time you notice a repeat, capture it. Tell your peers where the library lives and invite additions. When you share it, include a boundary line. Use freely and adapt. If you ask for custom help, send your draft and your 2 questions so I can respond it in 10 minutes. You have given real value and protected your time. Let's talk about disagreement with someone you respect. Start by naming the shared intention and the divergence. We both want the guide to reduce tickets fast. I think we should ship Friday trim to learn. You think we should hold for the full case studies Tuesday. I propose we test with 20 users Friday and decide on Monday morning if we need the full case studies before broad release. If they agree, you move together. If they don't, record the decision and execute well. Your consistency in execution is part of your reputation. Crisis weeks will happen. A bug ships. A partner pulls out, a forecast misses. When a crisis hits, your boundary is triage, not total availability. Say, I'm here and focused. For the next 6 hours, I'm dropping non-critical work and staying on this channel. I'll provide updates every 90 minutes. After 6 hours, I'll need to reset for 2 hours to stay effective. If you need a relay, I'll hand off cleanly. Crisis responses collapse when no one is allowed to rest. Model humane pacing so the team can still think on day 2. If your schedule is scattered by forces outside your control, protect one anchor: the day's promise. Before you sleep, choose a small non-negotiable that moves the needle. 10 minutes is enough if it's real. Write it onto tomorrow's calendar early. If interruptions steal it, put it back. If the day ends and it still didn't land, do 2 minutes and call it kept. Keeping promises to yourself is the core of trust. Trust is how you grow without chasing approval. Sometimes you need to reset a relationship that drifted into you doing too much. Start with appreciation, then name the pattern, then propose a plan. I appreciate how much you care about this project and the trust you've placed in me. I'm noticing I've been taking on coordination and execution. To keep quality and energy, I propose we split those. I'll own execution and you'll own coordination, or vice versa. Let's test that for 2 weeks. You are not accusing. You are calibrating. For friendships, remember that work boundaries are safer when your life outside work is respected. When a friend texts midday to process something heavy, meet the need without losing your footing. I want to hear everything. I'm in meetings until 4. Do you want a 10-minute call then? Or a longer call at 7? If they reply urgently, offer triage and a later return. I have 5 minutes now and 30 at 7. What's the one thing you want me to know before the longer call? You remain loving without letting the day vanish. With family, build a weekly ritual of asking for what you need before the week begins. I need a quiet hour on Wednesday evening to finish the report. I'll take the kids for the bedtime routine Tuesday and Thursday. Can you take Wednesday bedtime fully so I can focus? If something breaks the plan, repair with grace. I'm staying with the plan so I don't burn out. How do you want to adjust so both of us get what we need? Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Protect your name in rooms you are not yet in by doing something simple and powerful. Send clean handoffs. When you pass work to the next owner, include the goal, the latest draft, the unknowns, and the next decision date. Name who will decide and when. Invite questions during your office hours. This makes it easy to praise you when you're not present, because people remember how easy you made life for them. If you feel overlooked in group settings, use the equal airtime technique. In your next meeting, decide that you will contribute once every 10 minutes. Not to speak for airtime, but to move the decision forward. Frame, option, recommendation, ask. After the meeting, send one sentence summarizing your contribution to the channel or notes. Over time, rooms will start to expect your voice and plan around your clarity. You won't have to elbow in. You'll be invited in. Here's a repair line for when you overstep trying to help. I moved beyond my lane because I wanted to ensure we didn't stall. I see how that stepped on your ownership.
I'm resetting.
You own the decision. I'm available for a 15-minute review at 2. Then actually step back. Your apology is thin if your behavior doesn't change. Your credibility returns when it does. Now a micro practice for keeping respect during disagreement. The 2x2 note. Write 2 sentences that show comprehension of the other person's view and 2 sentences that show the consequences you see. I hear you want to delay to include the case studies, and that you're concerned about reputation. I also see the cost of silence until Tuesday. 8 support hours and 2 shaky partners. I recommend we ship Friday with a note about case studies landing Tuesday. If they still refuse, you preserve the relationship in your record of clear thinking. As you become known for calm boundaries, people will seek you out. Guard your core by teaching, not absorbing. Host a 30-minute session called Working with Me. Share your focus windows, office hours, preferred formats, and your promise rhythm. Invite questions and co-create touchpoints. This is not self-importance. It is a user manual that keeps you from becoming the default fixer. When people know how to work with you, they stop guessing and you stop overgiving. End this part with a simple image. Imagine your work relationships like a well-lit hallway with clear doors. Every door has a small sign. What lives here, how to enter, how to leave. You don't need to stand in the hallway all day managing traffic. The signs do the work. Your presence is felt in the order, in the rhythm, in the way people move without bumping into each other. You designed it that way with your sentences, your agreements, your calm insistence on reality. Part 6 is about sustaining momentum when the weather changes. Careers grow in seasons, not straight lines. Some weeks invite you forward. Some weeks test what you've built. You do not need to overgive to survive the storm. You need steadiness, simple resets, and sentences that keep you anchored. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Begin with a 2-minute stability drill you can use anytime. Sit upright. Place your feet flat. Notice one thing you hear, one thing you see, and one thing you feel. Name your present goal in 1 sentence. Name your next step in 7 words or fewer. Then speak a gentle boundary aloud. I'm moving one thing that matters before I take on anything new. When pressure rises, small truth is better than big pep talks. This drill returns you to the ground you own. Setbacks happen. A project slips. A presentation lands flat. A leader changes direction after you worked late. Respond with a 3-part repair. Acknowledge the miss without drama. We aimed for Friday and landed Monday. Name what you learned. The sign-off gate needs to be earlier. Offer the next step. I'll install a 48-hour review rule and share it by noon. You are not begging for forgiveness. You are showing reliability under real conditions. Trust grows here. If you made an error, take responsibility without over-apologizing. I introduced a mistake in Section 3. I've corrected it and added a second reviewer for this step going forward. If there's anything else you want checked, I'm available at 2 for 15 minutes. Repair lines are bridges back to confidence. They protect your energy because they close loops quickly. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. When pressure shows up as scope creep, use a fixed frame that cannot be argued with. Time, quality, or scope? Pick 2. Say, to meet Friday with high quality, we keep the current scope. If we add the case studies, we can keep quality and move to Tuesday, or keep Friday and accept a lighter pass. Which path serves our goal? Calmly repeat the options. Do not explain 10 more times. Let the choice stand. You are training the room to respect trade-offs. Reorganizations, new bosses, shifting priorities. These moments can pull you back into proving yourself with overwork. Resist the audition spiral. In your first one-on-one, state your current outcomes and ask for the top 2 moves that fit the new map. I own reducing support tickets through the onboarding guide and stabilizing the partner rollout. What are the top 2 outcomes you want from me in the next 30 days? I'll align to those and report weekly. If expectations contradict, bring the conflict to daylight. I'm hearing 2 priorities that compete. I can deliver one this month at full quality. Which do you want first? Leadership respects steadiness more than frantic helpfulness. When layoffs or budget cuts touch your team, grief and fear can blur boundaries. Keep a humane cadence. Name your capacity and your plan. I'm holding our commitments by narrowing scope this week. I can take on one additional critical task if we drop the analysis section. I'll share a trimmed plan by 3. If someone asks you to absorb the work of a role that no longer exists, ask for design before yes. To take this on sustainably, here's what would need to change. Scope, timeline, or resources. Which lever can we pull? Your body will want to sprint. Your future will thank you for pacing. Guard after hours and weekends with simple clarity. I don't work Sundays. If something is urgent in the safety or legal sense, text urgent and 1 sentence. Otherwise, I'll respond Monday at 10. When messages arrive late, reply during your window with the record you want. Responding at 7 a.m. tells the truth of your boundary. It also teaches others to match your rhythm. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. If you travel or work across time zones, publish your lane lines each week. My focus windows are 9 to 11 Jakarta and 2 to 4 Jakarta. I'll be offline outside those hours. For live decisions with U.S. partners, I can offer Tuesday at 7 a.m. Jakarta and Thursday at 7 a.m. Jakarta this week. Having 2 early options is generous. It is also finite. When you give a container, people fill the container instead of your whole day. Imposter feelings often intensify as you grow. Treat them as weather, not truth. When the old story whispers, "I'm not ready," answer with a fact and a plan. I've delivered 3 outcomes in the last quarter that map to this role. My plan is a draft today and a review tomorrow. Then return to your actions. Confidence follows kept promises, not the other way around. Practicing calm under lights matters. Before high-stakes meetings, run the 3-sentence readiness script out loud. The decision we need. The 2 options and trade-offs. My recommendation. If you blank in the meeting, name it and continue. I'm going to glance at my notes to ensure I cover the essentials. Then speak your 3 sentences. This is not weakness. It's professionalism. The room relaxes when someone takes responsibility for clarity. Sometimes the right move is to pause a burning initiative that is not designed to win. Pausing is not quitting. Pausing is choosing. Say, we are spending energy without moving the metric. I recommend a 2-week pause to redesign for impact. Here is the small experiment I'll run during the pause, and the date will decide to resume or end. If leadership refuses to pause, install a micro-experiment inside the ongoing work. We will test the messaging on 20 users tomorrow, and decide at 2 if it improves the metric. You are creating learning even when momentum is messy. When a leader uses urgency as a habit, protect your pace with a decision ladder. I can decide within the hour on small scope changes. For medium changes, I need until tomorrow at noon. For large changes, I'll propose a plan by Thursday. Please label requests small, medium, or large. I'll respond accordingly. The latter gives you structure. Over time, it reshapes the urgency culture because it teaches people what fast actually means. If you're interviewing or entertaining offers, keep your current work clean. Honoring your commitments protects your name inside and out. When recruiters ask for time, give containers. I can talk Tuesday at 8 or Thursday at 8 for 20 minutes. Please send the role scope, compensation range, and decision timeline beforehand, so we use the time well. If a company pushes for take-home projects that sprawl, counter with reality, I can complete a 90-minute exercise. If you need something larger, I'm happy to do a live working session. This protects your evenings and keeps the process fair. Negotiating a new role requires the same gentle firmness you practice at work. I'm excited about the scope. To deliver sustainably, I need clarity on decision rights, success metrics for the first 90 days, and the resources for the launch. I work in focus windows with office hours and I protect weekends. If this fits, I can commit fully. If you sense misalignment, say so. I'm noticing a gap between the outcomes you want and the resources available. If the gap remains, I'll step back respectfully. Walking away is a boundary that builds trust with yourself. Time off is part of growth. Announce it with simplicity. I'll be on leave from the 10th to the 17th. My backups are Sam for approvals and Maya for analytics questions. I'm offline during that time. I'll return on the 18th with a status check. Before you leave, set 2 drift guards. A short handoff note and a short return plan. When you return, do not sprint to equalize guilt. Use 1 hour to scan status, 1 hour to align priorities, then restart your focus windows. Accept that inbox 0 is not the measure of a good return. Momentum on your promises. For stretch seasons where life outside work intensifies, caregiving, health appointments, study. Choose your one professional non-negotiable. It might be a single daily focus window. It might be a weekly leadership update that keeps your impact visible. Then shrink everything else. Say, I'm keeping my Wednesday pilot review sacred, and will narrow non-essential tasks for 4 weeks. I'll revisit on the 30th. This keeps your career present without costing your health or home. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Conflict sometimes escalates beyond a calm conversation. When a relationship feels stuck, set a boundary meeting with a simple frame. I want us to work well and protect outcomes. Here's what's working. Here's where I'm seeing repeated friction. Here's a proposal with 2 options. Please choose one, or offer a third by tomorrow at noon. If nothing changes, involve a neutral third party with facts, not feelings. I've logged 6 instances where scope changed within 24 hours of ship. I'm asking for a rule. Changes after the gate go to version 2 unless safety or legal. Can you support this? Systems solve what personalities won't. When a senior leader takes your idea and presents it as theirs, protect your value without a fight. After the meeting, send a short thank you note with attribution and the next step. Thank you for elevating the onboarding guide approach. As discussed, I'll lead the draft and decision log for Friday's review. Looping Sam for stakeholder input. Then share a progress update in a public channel. Moving the guide forward. Draft at 60%, review Friday. Attribution lives in the work and in the record. Do this consistently and the pattern shifts. For peers who chronically miss deadlines that impact you, build an agreement that creates consequence without hostility. To ship Friday, I need your draft by Wednesday noon. If it's late, I'll ship a trimmed version and roll your section into Tuesday's update. Please confirm. Follow through once. The natural consequence is the teacher. You do not have to argue. You have to design for reality. When promotions go to others, give yourself 24 hours before you respond to any story you're telling about your worth. Then request a clarity meeting. I'm seeking specific, actionable reasons I was not selected and the exact outcomes that would change that. I'll follow up with a plan and a date to revisit. If the answers are vague again, decide what you need to keep growing. A project, a sponsor, or a different environment. Growth without overgiving includes the courage to spend your energy where it compounds. Guard your mornings during heavy seasons. Start with your one promise before you open team channels. If someone pings with heat, use a steady line. I see this. I'll review at 10 after I move the guide forward. If it truly cannot wait, please send one line with the decision needed. 9 times out of 10, the heat cools when it meets a confident plan. Your day belongs to the promise you made, not to the loudest ping. Your body is part of your system. Choose one micro-ritual that signals safety. A glass of water before you read messages, sunlight on your face for 2 minutes at lunch, a walk around the block at 4. These acts are not indulgence. They are maintenance for your decision engine. Boundaries hold when your nervous system isn't starving. At home, protect recovery so you can keep bringing a steady voice to work. Create a family or housemate phrase that releases you from conversation for a short window. I need 20 minutes of quiet to reset, then I'm here. If you live alone, make a closing ritual visible. Put the laptop in a backpack and put the backpack in a closet. Say out loud, I did enough for today. Tomorrow I'll do the next right thing. Your brain believes what you repeat with action. During busy launches, it's easy to let small kindness drop. Keep one teammate gratitude per day. Thank you for naming the decision early. That saved an hour. This is culture repair in tiny doses. It also protects you from sliding into cynicism, which wastes energy you need. Build a when in doubt card you can glance at under stress. It holds 5 lines that fit in your palm. What's my one promise today? What decision is truly needed? What is the smallest version that moves the metric? Who needs to know now? Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. When the room spins, the card cuts through noise. Use it like a compass. If you lead people, make your team's boundaries more visible than your preferences. Publish focus windows, office hours, decision gates, and on-call rotations. Praise the person who declines a meeting to protect a deliverable. When someone breaks a boundary, correct the behavior, not the person. We don't add scope day of unless safety or legal. Move the change to version 2. Then keep your own word about deadlines and scope so your team can trust the frame. For the weeks when your energy is low and the work is high, practice minimum viable excellence. Define the smallest action that creates real value today. Do it early and call it kept. Send a 2-sentence status, move one decision forward, clear one blocker for someone else. Then rest. Velocity returns faster when you don't shame yourself. If you find yourself stuck in a loop of fixing others' work, install a teaching pause. I can fix this today, or I can sit with you for 20 minutes so you can own it next time. Which helps more? If they choose fixing, let it be truly temporary and name the future state. I'll fix this one, and we'll do the 20-minute session tomorrow. You are generous. You are not a mop. Sometimes the bravest boundary is to ask for help before you drop a ball. I'm at capacity and risk missing Friday's draft. To keep quality, I need either a partner for the research section or a shift to Monday. Please advise by 3. Asking early is leadership. Asking late is damage control. Choose early. Finally, remember why you are doing all of this. You are not building a fortress around yourself. You are building a path for your best work to walk straight through you into the world. You are replacing panic with design. You are choosing relationships that thrive on clarity. You are becoming the colleague, the manager, the leader whose calm changes the temperature of rooms. Part 7 is about your craft, your narrative, and the quiet systems that make excellence feel light. Your career grows fastest when your work speaks clearly and your energy lasts. Today we build a personal operating system that keeps you visible, resourced, and respected without the old habit of overgiving. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Begin with a simple practice called the Daily 2. Each morning, choose 2 actions that create real value and can be finished today. 1 should serve your current promise. 1 should amplify your visibility. Write them in a single sentence you can say out loud. Today I finished the pricing table, and send a 2-sentence update. When your day gets noisy, return to the Daily 2. You will end more days complete. You will stop chasing 10 tasks that never finish. Build your craft through tiny, repeatable improvements. Choose 1 skill that lifts your value this quarter. Make a 5-minute daily drill for it. If you write, your drill could be rewriting 1 paragraph for clarity. If you analyze, your drill could be checking 1 metric against the goal and writing a 1-sentence insight. 5 minutes a day is not cosmetic. It is compounding. The skill becomes muscle. Your confidence stops needing adrenaline to arrive. Create a 1-page impact brief for yourself. It holds 3 parts: outcomes, systems, and story. Outcomes are the top results you delivered with dates and numbers. Systems are the checklists, templates, or rituals you installed to make those results repeatable. Story is a paragraph that links your outcomes to what the business needed. Update this brief monthly. Use it to prepare for reviews, sponsorship talks, and interviews. When someone asks what you do, you have a clear, kind answer. I reduce support tickets and grow retention by designing onboarding systems. Here are 3 outcomes and the systems that made them repeatable. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Politics exist in every organization. You do not have to play small or play mean. You can play clean. Start by mapping influence with curiosity, not judgment. Who decides? Who informs the decider? Who frames the problem before it reaches the decider? Then build respectful ties. I'm owning the onboarding guide. What's most useful to you before we present to leadership? I can send a 1-page with options and trade-offs 48 hours ahead. You are not currying favor. You are making it easy to say yes to good work. Refuse gossip without making enemies. When a conversation turns into character talk, pivot to process. I want us to solve the work, not the person. What decision would make this friction irrelevant? If the person insists, exit without drama. I'm stepping out to protect focus. If there's a decision for me, send it in 1 line. Your boundaries are not a scold. They are a service to progress. Protect your attention with digital hygiene that feels humane. Turn off non-essential notifications. Check messages at times you've chosen. Use folders and filters for requests that arrive without context. When someone sends a vague note, reply with a gate that creates clarity. Happy to help. Send the goal, the latest draft, and the decision needed. I'll respond at 1. Noise will reduce because you designed it to. Build a small ritual called the Friday Ledger. At week's end, write 3 lines. What shipped, what I learned, what I'll change. Share 1 line of that ledger with a stakeholder if it helps them. Ship draft sections 2 and 3. Learned we need a sign-off gate earlier. Changing to a 48-hour review rule next week. This little record keeps your narrative alive without a heavy status deck. It also makes you easier to advocate for because people can quote you cleanly. When bias appears, set boundaries that defend dignity and keep the work moving. If you are talked over, finish one sentence with steady tone. I'll complete this point, then I'm keen to hear yours. If your idea is credited to someone else, reclaim the thread without heat. Building on my earlier proposal for a Friday ship with trimmed scope, here's the updated plan. If you're routed to office housework, reassign with respect. I can take notes for 5 minutes to start, and then I'd like Alex to own that so I can drive decisions on scope. If the pattern persists, record specifics and bring them to your manager with a clear ask. I'm consistently assigned coordination tasks in strategy meetings. I'm asking to be named decision owner on the next 2 launches. Here are the outcomes I'll deliver. Practice graceful advocacy for raises and opportunities in small moments, not just big meetings. When you close a loop with a leader, add one calm line. I'm proud of the impact here. I'd like to discuss scope and compensation alignment at our next checkpoint. I'll bring the outcomes and a proposal. You are not demanding. You are giving the room a clear, predictable path to match your value. Mentorship can nudge you to overgive if you try to be everyone's answer. Keep your care within frames. Offer office hours. Provide starter kits. Ask for a draft before you meet. When someone shows up unprepared, hold the line with kindness. To make this useful, send your goal and what you've tried. I'll review during office hours. Teaching with structure builds others and protects you. For sponsors, convert goodwill into concrete action. After a sponsor praises your work, reply with a specific ask that helps the business. Thank you for the support. I'm ready to lead the partner rollout pilot next month. If it succeeds, would you be willing to name me owner for version 2 in the planning meeting? Then deliver. Follow up with outcomes. Sponsors stay when you make them look wise for backing you. Craft your personal brand as a 3-sentence promise, not a performance. Say it to yourself often. I deliver outcomes that reduce noise for teams. I protect focus so quality is reliable. I communicate decisions in clean sentences. Everything in your system should align with that promise. Each time you say no, link it to the promise. I'm declining ownership because I'm protecting the onboarding guide so the team can breathe. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. When you interview, bring your boundaries into the conversation early. I work in focus windows and use office hours for responsiveness. I design with trade-offs and write one-page briefs for fast decisions. I'm looking for a team that values outcomes over performative urgency. Then listen. If the room celebrates chaos, say thank you and step away. If the room breathes out and nods, you have found alignment. If you decide to move on from your current role, exit with clarity and care, not apology. Give formal notice with a short, gracious script. I'm grateful for what I've learned here. I'm moving to a role that aligns with my next stage. I'm committed to a clean handoff. Here are my proposed dates and the plan. Decline counteroffers that only address money if the core issues were scope, culture, or respect. I appreciate the offer. I've made my decision based on alignment and trajectory. I'm staying with it. Thank you for the time we've had together. Protect your relationships with clean documentation, and a final note naming specific gratitude. People remember your exit. Let it be steady. Prepare a transition kit for yourself whether you stay or go. It includes your one-page impact brief, your templates, your key relationships mapped with notes on how to work with them, and 3 scripts you rely on. Keep the kit updated. It makes you resilient when change arrives. It makes you valuable on day 1 in any new room. Design a learning budget that is small and regular. Choose 1 course, 1 book, or 1 peer session each month. Tie each to a real project, not just curiosity. Read for 30 minutes, then apply for 30 minutes. If your company will fund it, ask early with a calm business case. This resource teaches me to reduce support tickets faster. I'll present a summary and install the best practice in our template. If the company can't fund it, choose the free path with discipline. Knowledge applied beats certificates displayed. Set boundaries around side projects so they feed, not drain your main work. Use a clear test. Does this project build a skill I need, a network I value, or a portfolio piece I can share? If not, let it be a hobby with a container. I'll spend 2 hours on Saturday, not weeknights. If yes, schedule it like real work with a finish line. I'll ship a 1-page by the 30th and ask a mentor for feedback. Your energy stays coherent when your evenings have edges. Use a calm approach with recruiters so your time doesn't disappear. Thank you for reaching out. I'm interested if the scope includes ownership of outcomes and clear decision rights. Please share the salary range, success metrics for 90 days, and the decision timeline. I can talk Tuesday at 8 for 20 minutes. If you sense opacity, pass. If the process respects your time, proceed with care and steadiness. Handle performance dips with a plan, not a spiral. When someone on your team struggles, choose the smallest specific change that would help. I want to see a clear decision at the top of your deck and one trade-off named. I'll review once at 3 tomorrow. If the pattern continues, state the boundary and the support. I can keep investing if I see progress on these 2 behaviors in the next 2 weeks. After that, we'll adjust ownership. Warmth and clarity can coexist. Protect your physical space as a boundary that signals who you are when you sit down to work. Clear your desk at the end of the day. Place your one promise at the center each morning. Keep a small object that reminds you of your values where your eye lands. Your surroundings teach your nervous system what to expect. Simplicity helps you keep your word. Use a reset plan when you return from vacation or illness. Do not sprint. Hour 1, scan status. Hour 2, align priorities. Hour 3, start your first focus window. Send a 2-sentence update after. Back and aligned. Today I'm moving the pricing table and confirming Friday's ship plan. This prevents the guilt rush that tempts you to overgive to prove you're back. You return as a leader of your own time. If you freelance or consult, boundaries are revenue tools. Set a clear intake form and packages with scope, timeline, and 2 revision gates. When a client asks for one more call, respond with care and a container. I can add a 30-minute review for a fee of X, or we can use the remaining gate next Tuesday. Which do you prefer? If a client wants overnight turnaround as a habit, say no without rupture. I protect quality with a 24-hour review rule. If you need rush support, I can offer an expedited rate and a trimmed scope. You teach clients how to buy your best work. Create a simple crisis card for your team. It holds 4 lines. Who decides how we update, what triggers escalation when we rest. When crisis hits, read the card aloud and follow it. We escalate if uptime drops below 98%. Updates every 90 minutes. Decisions by Alex. One person rests each cycle. This keeps you human. It builds trust that you will not burn your team to perform heroics. At home, prepare for your next sprint by asking for the help you need before the week begins. I'm entering a heavy week with 2 launches. I need quiet from 7 to 9 each morning and help with dinners Tuesday and Thursday. I'll trade by taking Saturday morning errands. If someone forgets, return to the plan without resentment. I'm staying with what we agreed so I don't burn out. What's your move tonight? Boundaries at home keep your career from consuming your life. If you carry community roles outside work, like volunteering or caregiving, we've boundaries there too. I can coordinate the fundraiser if we use last year's checklist and commit to a 48-hour sign-off. If live meetings run over, I'll step out at the hour and send notes by 7. Your generosity becomes sustainable when it has edges. Build your inner council, so you don't outsource decisions to the loudest room. Pick 3 wise voices in your life. When you face a choice, ask what each would counsel, then choose. You can even write their 1-sentence advice on a card. Your future self, your bravest friend, your calm mentor. These voices anchor you when fear is louder than facts. When you've been generous for years, changing can feel like betrayal. It is not betrayal. It is repair. Say this softly to yourself. I can love people and still protect my work. I can be reliable and still have edges. I can be ambitious and still be kind. The more you repeat it, the more your body believes it. Then your sentences become easier. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Close this part with a rehearsal for one of the harder lines you may need. When someone says you've changed, you're less available, breathe and answer without flinching. I'm protecting focus so I can deliver at a higher level and still have a life I love. If you need something time-sensitive, label it and I'll make a considered call. Otherwise, I'll respond during office hours. Thank you for adjusting with me. You are not apologizing for growth. You are inviting others to benefit from your steadier, better work. Part 8 is integration. You have practiced boundaries at work and at home, under pressure and under lights. Today we stitch it all into a rhythm you can live inside for years. This is not a sprint. It is a way of being generous without depletion, ambitious without apology, and reliable without erasing yourself. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Begin with a quiet commitment to continuity. Tomorrow does not need a reinvention. It needs a repeat. Say this aloud before sleep. I keep the promise I make to myself in the morning. When morning comes, write your daily 2 in 1 sentence, and defend your 2 focus windows like appointments with your future. If the day breaks your plan, you repair before you resent. You say I overcommit. To preserve quality, I will trim scope or shift deadline. Option A is Summary Friday. Option B is Full Tuesday. Which serves best? Then you follow through with calm hands. Build a 12-week rhythm so progress compounds. In week 1, choose 1 skill, 1 outcome, and 1 relationship to strengthen. Speak them in plain language. I will ship the onboarding guide, learn executive summaries, and deepen trust with the product lead. Each Friday, write 3 lines: what moved, what resisted, what I'll try next. At week 6, host a half-hour self-retro and reset scope with your manager or sponsor. At week 12, name what became easier and what is still hard, and choose the next skill, outcome, relationship. You are the steward of the arc. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Teach your calendar to be your advocate without you in the room. Keep your focus windows visible with outcomes named. Publish your office hours twice a week. Install decision gates with specific times and owners for launches. The point is not that you never flex. The point is that you flex from a shape, not from panic. When someone requests a meeting across your promise block, you reply, I'm heads down on the onboarding guide then. If my presence is essential, I can swap 1 block this week. Otherwise, I'll read notes and respond at 4. And when you do swap, you replant the block elsewhere that same day, so your future self is not charged a hidden fee. Tend your reputation like a garden rather than a scoreboard. A garden grows with watering, pruning, and light. Water with updates that are tiny and honest. Ship the summary, polishing pricing table at 10 tomorrow. Prune by canceling meetings without agendas, and ending work that no longer serves the goal. Light arrives when you thank people concretely. Thank you for deciding at the half-hour mark. It saved a day. These acts cost minutes and buy months of trust. Your money clarity grows as your outcomes grow visible. Keep a living document of results with dates, numbers, and the system behind them. When review season arrives, your conversation stays clean. Over the last quarter, I reduced tickets by 50% and codified a template others reuse. I'm asking to align scope and compensation with this level of impact. If the answer is later, ask for a written plan with dates and measurable outcomes. If the answer is fog, respect yourself by exploring rooms that already value your way of working. Hold dignity in moments that used to pull you into overgiving. When someone charms you into a quick favor, that is not quick, you say thank you for the kind words. I'm keeping my promise to ship the guide this week, so I can't own this. I can offer a 10-minute review Thursday. If they press, you keep your record steady. I am saying no to ownership and yes to a brief review. Which would you like? When a colleague dumps last-minute work, you say, I'm at capacity with prior commitments. If you extend the deadline or narrow to one decision, I'll reevaluate at 4. Your tone stays warm. Your edge stays intact. At home, make your agreements visible and boring. Sunday evening, say what matters this week, what will we each own, what will we drop to protect sanity. Then write the plan where everyone can see it. When the plan is violated, you protect it without lecture. I'm staying with what we agreed so I don't burn out. What's your move tonight? When guilt about time rises like a fog, you check alignment. Am I protecting the promises that keep us stable? If yes, you let the guilt pass. If no, you adjust without scolding yourself. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Craft your personal operating sentence and carry it. I deliver outcomes that reduce chaos. I protect focus so quality is repeatable. I communicate decisions in clean lines. Each yes you speak should feed that sentence. Each no you speak should protect it. When someone says you're less available, you say, I'm guarding focus to deliver at a higher level and still have a life I love. If something is time sensitive, label it and I'll make a considered call. Otherwise, I'll respond during office hours. Practice it until your body believes you. Design for crises instead of pretending they won't come. Keep a crisis card where you can grab it. Decision owner, update rhythm, escalation trigger, rest rule. When the unexpected hits, read the card aloud. We update every 90 minutes. We escalate if we dip below the threshold. Alex decides. One person rests each cycle. You do not need to be a hero to be heroic. You need to be predictable. The team will remember not just what you delivered but how you protected their breath. For your craft, choose one small drill that keeps your edge sharp no matter the season. A paragraph rewrite for clarity. A chart that ties a metric to a decision. A 5-minute mock of an executive summary. Do it daily before the world wakes up around you. The drill is not about perfection. It's about identity. I am the kind of person who tends my craft even when nobody is watching. From that steadiness, opportunity notices you. Mentor without becoming a sponge. Offer a monthly group session with a theme and a template. Ask attendees to send one question and what they've tried. Start on time. End on time. Share your working with me guide. I protect focus with 2 daily windows and use office hours for responsiveness. For reviews, I ask for the goal, the latest draft, and the decision needed. I'll respond in those containers. You will feel your shoulders drop as teaching replaces rescuing. You are raising the floor around you so the room stops leaning on your bandwidth. Sponsorship thrives when you convert praise into path. When a senior leader says, "Great job," you reply, "Thank you. I'm ready to lead the cross-functional rollout pilot next month. If it succeeds, would you be comfortable naming me owner of version 2 in the planning meeting?" Then you deliver, and you circle back with outcomes and a clean debrief. Sponsors stay when you make them credible for betting on you. Give yourself a structural Sabbath, even if it is small. Choose a weekly block where you do not work, scan, or fix. Name the block in your calendar. Protect it with the same ferocity you protect a board meeting. When someone asks for it, you say, "I'm not available then. I can offer 2 options. Tuesday at 8, Thursday at 8. Your life needs air to keep your work alive. Rest is not a prize you earn by emptying yourself. It is part of the machine that generates your excellence. Handle grief and anger with rails, so they don't turn into overgiving penance. When you are hurt by a decision or overlooked for a role, give yourself 24 hours with a friend or a journal before you act. The next day, request clarity. I'm seeking specific reasons I wasn't selected and the exact outcomes that would change that. If you receive specifics, make a plan. If you receive fog again, choose courage. I will spend my effort where it compounds. And then you keep your promise to yourself to move one thing that matters. That is how you leave rooms without carrying them in your chest for years. Sharpen your negotiation for the moments that shift your trajectory. When scope explodes, you name the triangle. Time, quality, scope we can hold too. To include this, we either move to Tuesday or lighten the pass, which keeps trust intact. When comp lags your impact, you anchor to market and outcomes. Given the outcomes and the scope I own, I'm asking for alignment at Z. If not this cycle, I'd like a dated written plan tied to measurable outcomes. You never need to beg. You need to be specific. For friendships, protect presence. When a friend needs you and your day is full, you answer with heart and a container. I want to be with you in this. I can talk for 10 minutes now or 45 at 7, which helps. If you have the capacity, you show up fully. If you do not, you name it without guilt. I am not the right support for a daily debrief this week. I can do Sundays, sending you a meal because I love you. You remain generous, and your life remains livable. For family, especially during high-stakes seasons, plan your exits and re-entries. Before a big presentation week, say I'll be present for dinner Tuesday and Thursday. On Wednesday, I need a quiet evening to prepare. I'll trade by taking Saturday morning errands. When you close your laptop, narrate it. I am done working. I am here for you. When you must dip back in, narrate that too with a return time. I need 20 minutes to send one note, then I'm back. The narration turns boundaries into care rather than mystery. Install a failsafe for the days you feel small. 5 lines on a card you can hold. What's my one promise today? What decision is truly needed? What is the smallest version that moves the metric? Who needs to know now? Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. When the room spins, the card cuts it down to size. You do not need motivation. You need direction. You do not need approval. You need the next sentence that protects your plan. Keep your exit clean if your path carries you elsewhere. Give notice with gratitude and a plan. I'm grateful for what I've learned. I'm moving to a role aligned with my next stage. Here are my dates and handoff plan. Decline counteroffers that only address money when the gaps were scope or respect. I appreciate it. I'm staying with my decision. Then deliver a spotless handoff and a thank you that names people accurately. Your reputation will travel ahead of you, doing the quiet work of opening doors. If you freelance, treat boundaries as products. Publish packages with scope, timeline, and 2 revision gates. When someone asks for one more quick thing, reply, I can add a 30-minute review for X, or we can use the remaining gate Tuesday. Which do you prefer? When you're asked for unpaid spec work that would take hours, say, I can complete a 90-minute exercise. For anything larger, I'm happy to do a paid working session. Your tone stays generous. Your edges stay firm. Let's craft a final set of ready-to-say lines that live in your mouth without effort. With a leader, I can deliver a solid version Friday with summary, plan, and pricing table. Full depth is Tuesday. Which path serves the goal? With a peer, I'm at capacity on my promise. If you can narrow to one decision, I can reply at 4. With a friend, I'm in focus until 6 and I want to hear you. 10 minutes now or 45 at 7. With family, I'm staying with the plan we made so I don't burn out. What's your move tonight? With yourself, I decide with alignment, not adrenaline. You will not do this perfectly. You will wobble. You will say yes too fast. You will rescue because it is faster. The difference now is that you repair quickly and you learn in public. You say I move too quickly. To protect quality, I'm adjusting. 2 options. You log the pattern and add a gate. You praise the person who helped you hold the line. You go home with your voice intact. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Imagine a year from now. Your body knows how to breathe in meetings. Your calendar tells the truth. Your updates land before anyone needs to chase you. Your colleagues trust your yes and respect your no. Your family recognizes that when you close your laptop, you return fully. Your friends know when you can be there and when you will be there later with your whole attention. Opportunities arrive because the rooms that matter have learned to see you. They say she moves work forward without drama. She protects her team and our timelines. She is generous without disappearing. They are describing who you already practice being. Write a short letter to the future you who is living that life. I kept my promises. I designed for calm. I asked for decisions. I protected the hours where the real work lives. I spoke with a soft voice and a clear spine. I built systems that let humans breathe. I chose the rooms that welcomed the way I work. I grew without overgiving. And when I faltered, I repaired and returned. Place the letter where you can find it when the weather turns. Before we close, speak the refrain one more time, with your shoulders down and your jaw soft. Be kind. Be clear. Be consistent. Let it be the rhythm that holds you when rooms grow loud and days grow tight. Let it be the way you love people and still protect what you are building. Let it be the way your career grows and your life remains yours. You listened all the way through, and that matters. To mark the moment, choose one sentence you will use tomorrow. Write it now. Put it where your day begins. When you use it, notice what stays intact. Your time, your attention, your promise to yourself. That quiet satisfaction is the measure of growth that lasts. When you leave this session, leave with a plan for one boundary to speak, one outcome to move, one person to thank. Small is not small when it repeats. Thank you for spending this time investing in your steadiness and your future. If you want to hear these lines again, play them while you set your calendar, or write your daily too. Let them be the scaffolding around the work you're meant to do. And when you need a reminder, return to the voice you practiced. Calm, warm, and firm. You will be amazed how often the world chooses to meet you there. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks, and I'm proud of the way you are building a career that grows without overgiving.